Well, good morning again, everyone out there in YouTube land. I'm Chris and welcome to the Wooden Workshop. Now for today's video I'm going to be cutting the pieces of wood for a custom order. A customer bought one of my coat racks from me, but then asked if I could do something a bit different with it, so I'm doing that. So today I'll be cutting the wood, measuring it. I'll be routing out the groove for the tiles and the shelf, and it'll be fun. Let's go. Now the first thing I need to do is select the wood. Here's my pile of appropriate timbers. So I'm going to take this one, move the old poles out of the way. I'm going to take this one, it's on top of the pile. It's a long old chunk. Oops, there goes the broom. It's a long old chunk. Let's put some lights on. There we go. It's a long old chunk. Just checking it over for any over wobbliness. Tiny bit of wobbliness, that's fine. Any overt cracks that might give me problems. There's a tiny one there. Does it go through to the other side? No, it doesn't. So, no problems with this wood. That's good. So, I'm going to start by cutting the main pieces that I need. Now this item has 3 lengths the same, so I use my handy measurer here. This is relative dimensioning again. Instead of measuring all the time, I use this because this is preset to the right lengths. This is going to be a 60 centimetre shelf. And if we measure this, then it's actually 60 and a bit. That's because when I put the tiles on, I don't want to cut them, so I have to make sure that the length is long enough to fit an exact number of tiles. So that's lined up on the end, all lovely. Oh, hang on, no, it's not a square end, is it? So first thing I need to do is chop off the end to get a square end. So, handy hint, there's a very long plank, it's going to wobble about, so I'm going to put that knot at the end and then cut a straight line, also knot at the end. Will give me a little bit of waste, but doesn't matter. A big chunky wood like this, 2 cuts, always better. So line that up on the end there, that's perfectly lined up there. Then I can slide it through, bring the blade down, slide that along to meet the blade. That's the right size. Clamp it with the saw blade, move that out of the way, hold that, and then cut it. So there's my first main piece. It is the same length as that one. You can see both ends there, it's the same size. So I now need 2 more. I don't think I'm going to get them all out of this plank. That means I have to choose another plank. So line it up again. Line this up on the end, that's nice and level. Bring it across. The saw blade down, it's not far enough yet. Bring the saw blade down and clamp it. That is fine. Remove that. There we go. There's 2. Now, as you can probably tell, there's not enough there, but some of this can still be used. Let's choose ourselves another plank. This is the next one. It's got quite a barky edge though, so I'm not going to use that one. Let's have a look at this one here. Actually, let's use this one. So, the colour shouldn't really make much difference, but it does. It really does. So that one's all nice and tidy again. So I shall cut off an excessive length. Put that there, leave some space. Come down here, leave a bit of space. Cutty cut. One side. And now I can cut this one to actual size using my guide. That's nice and level on the end. Slide him across. Bring the blade down, slide it in. Clamp, is that still matched at the end? No. So slide in a bit more. Now it's matched at the end. Push it all against the fence so it's right angled. Yep. Take that off and go for it. There we go. Scraps in the bin. So here I now have my 3 main pieces. One will go like that, one will go like that, and one will be higher up. So now I need to make the sides. I'm going to use this. I'm going to keep using this piece because it's a nice piece. Now the sides of this, I haven't actually worked that out yet, so let's do it. That'll be the back. That'll be the main shelf, and then the upper shelf needs to go up here somewhere. Okay, so it's for cubbies, you see, for keeping your gloves or your phone or whatever else, and that cubby is 9 centimeters tall. No, it's not, it's about 10 centimeters tall, and I think that's enough. So what we need to do is develop the measurement. This is how I do a lot of my stuff. It's not planned. It's plan it on the job. So I think if I do 26 centimeters, that's going to give a little bit of a lip up there, which we like, and it's going to come down to there nicely. So yeah, 26 is good. Hopefully this is long enough to give me 2 26s. Do I have to measure it this time? There's my 26 mark. Now remembering that we keep the saw blade to the right of the mark. And we make sure we are on your marks. That'll do nicely. Let's give it a go. Now, what do you think? Is there going to be enough? Yes, there is. A little bit of a split here. That does not matter. That will add to the feel of the thing. And some of it might get cut off in a minute anyway. So, those are on. They're level at that end. So I can bring the blade down, slide them in, clamp it, and then off we go. Now, I don't want, so basically now go like that. Basically go like that, yeah. Now what I don't want is this square corner here. I don't want that square corner. That needs to be an angle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a 15-degree angle down there. Now let's look at the wood. Let's look what the wood is doing. Always listen to the wood. Now no matter how hard you try, the planks are never going to be absolutely straight. There is going to be, oh, that piece is too long. Now, this piece is a tiny bit too long, look. So I'll take a tiny bit off the end. Yeah, that's better. Much more snug. That's that's it. Now, no matter how hard you try with reclaimed wood, you're always going to get a little bit of a bow in the wood. And if you look at that really carefully, you can see there is a slight smiley bow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place these pieces of wood with the smile going outwards, and this end, where's the smile? There's not much of a smile on this one, but there it is, the smile going outwards. That way, when I eventually screw it all together, that end will pull in and it will become nice and flat. So these two need a line going that way, so I'm going to put them together like that, yeah, so that when I cut the line going that way, I've done it on the right side of both pieces. Otherwise you end up with one bowed one way, one bowed the other way, and it doesn't work. So I adjust my saw to 15 degrees. This is kind of guesswork. Bring it down there. That's about the thickness of the wood, so that'll be fine. There we go. And I do both together because then I know they are both the same. So there we go. So here we will have the coat rack. Coat pegs will go here, line of tiles will go here. Then here's the main shelf, and then there's the top for the cubby. The cubbies will go in there. I'm going to make two cubbies for this one. I'm going to put a single line down the middle there. So there's a cubby there and a cubby there. So this height, I think we said it was about 10 centimetres, didn't we? That goes down a bit actually. I think we said it was about 10 centimetres, didn't we? Yeah. We'll make it 10 centimetres anyway. So that means I need a single 10 centimetre length to go in there. So this is where this scrap piece can come in. So I shall mark a 10 centimetre line, like so. Put it back to 0. Blade to the right. Line it up, and go. There you go. You can see this. You can see the bow, smiley bow there. It's going to go in that way. We have a little step here, don't we? Now, there's two options here. Two choices here. I could put that there, but then that's enormous. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So, with the cubby going in there, I could try to cut that little step out. Shouldn't be too hard. Not too keen on the idea. Or I could make the whole divider that little bit narrower, so it only reaches to there in the first place. I think I'd rather cut the notch though, but I can't cut the notch yet because I haven't routed the groove out on this piece. So let's put all these pieces to one side. Look how rough that is. Look at that. I mean, it is beautiful, don't get me wrong, it is lovely, but you know, it's scratchy and rough and horrible. There's little fluffy bits everywhere. We'll sort that out easily enough. So those are all the component pieces I need. They are cut, they are ready, and next step will be to route them. So here I am at the router table with my adjustable fence. So first of all, I'm going to look for the smile, look for the bow. There it is, smiley bow that way. Now that means if I place the wood down flat, it might have a little bit of a wobble that way. I don't want that. I want it to be nice and flat and steady. There we go. The curvature on it is so tiny that it really doesn't matter, but it means that I need to route on this side because this is going to be the front. So what I do, I place my board on the router table, I turn the router bit so it's at its widest presentation, and then I bring that in and I adjust so that I've got the right kind of clearance there. I only need a narrow bit there, in a bit more, that'll do. And now I can clamp this and then I can get on with routing. That's to catch the sawdust. Now, anyone who's not used a router before, it is noisy, very noisy, so I apologise now for the racket. What this is going to do, it's going to eat a groove all the way along the wood, a groove that's about the same depth as a ceramic tile, and it will spit out an awful lot of mess. Now, I have no safety fence on here, I have no safety devices on here, I just know to keep my fingers out of the way, because this spins at very, very high speed, and I do not want to lose a finger. Not another one anyway. That was a screwdriver this morning. Right, let's go. So we turn it on, and nothing happens, because it's not plugged in, because the saw is plugged, the sander is plugged in from yesterday. There we go. So we turn the router on, gently, I can't say a word while that's going, can I? We turn the router on and we gently feed it through, keeping it on this fence the whole time. Slow and steady is the name of the game here. Go too fast, then it won't work. And you've got to keep it nice and steady, nice and flat, nice and cosy. And actually, I've got it the wrong way up anyway, haven't I? Because that's the front. So it's a good job it wasn't plugged in. Okay, let's go. Keeping well out of the way until it's stopped. So there I have my first groove. You can see there's lots of sawdust impacted in the groove like that, and lots of sawdust on the table. I'm going to just nudge that out of the way for now. Now this groove in itself is not wide enough, because it needs to be able to hold the shelf and a ceramic tile. So as you can see, it's not wide enough yet. Now I'm not going to measure and do it that way. I've tried that a number of times and it always goes wrong. So all I'm going to do is move my fence a little bit that way. I can use the sawdust trail to see where it was before. Brush that out of the way, and then put it in the right way. Don't put it in the wrong way round. I've done that before as well. So now it will groove, it will bore out a wider groove. See there, I've actually left a little bit by mistake, so now I've got to bring it back a bit and pass it through again. Now yes, you're right, it did sound very angry as having to do that, didn't it? Doesn't like routing out very thin pieces like that. It spits and it goes too. So best to avoid that situation if you can. I did not avoid that situation because I was being a numpty. Put those up there out of the way. So now I need to adjust it, but I don't know where to anymore. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to put that in so it's where it last was. So where it last was there. And I'm going to take it a little bit wider. Not too much wider though, because it's getting to the width that I may need. Bear in mind this plank will be sanded down as well, so it'll be a tiny bit thinner. So you say we don't want to take too much out in one go now, because it's going to be asking for trouble. So what I'll do, I'll unclamp it. Better to measure several times than mess it up. So yes, I think that's going to be about right. So then let's get going. Needless to say, you should always be wearing eye protection. I wear glasses anyway, so that does. So now let's try it. There's the shelf, which we'll tuck in there, and then the tile. You can see we need a tiny bit more. So I'm going to use my sawdust line there to make me a tiny bit more. At this stage of the game it gets a bit tense because you don't want to mess it up. Yeah, so at this stage of the game it does get a bit tense to get it right. So let's try one more. Keeping my finger well out of the way at all times, of course. So now we place that in there. We place the tile in there. Oh, look at that. Almost. Now this will be a little bit thinner once I've sanded it. But I'm going to move my fence a really tiny amount. And put it through one more time. This should be it. That one could be a very quick pass because it was only taking a sliver off. So place that in there, put the tile in. It's a very tight fit. Very tight fit all the way along. Ooh. Yeah. Very tight fit all the way along, but as I say, when the shelf has been sanded, it'll be a little bit thinner anyway, so that will help. Okay, so we have our pieces cut. We have our bottom panel, our front panel, sorry, routed beautifully. So the next step will be the sanding, and I'll probably show you that next time. But before I show you that next time, I just remembered I've got to cut the notch, haven't I? So what I'm going to do, this is my centerpiece. I'm going to put it against there, nice and tight, and mark where the shelf unit comes to. And then, this is the tricky bit, I need to line it up there, because this here is where the shelf will be. So I'm going to draw a little line like that finishes at the edge, then I'm going to use a square to mark off the rest of that little bit there. Now that is the notch that needs to come out. I shall mark it there as well. So that is the little notch that needs to come out. Now, there isn't really a way of doing this, certainly with the tools I have at my disposal. So I'm going to use good old-fashioned saw and a vise. My vise is here. So I shall clamp my vise onto my bench like so, and then open him up. Now what I don't want to do, what I absolutely don't want to do, is put this straight into the vise because the jaws will cut into it. So I'm going to use a bit of scrap card here. These are from the tiles I was sorting out this morning when the screwdriver bit me. So wrap that card around, place it in the jaws of the vise, and now I can clamp the vise really tight to hold the workpiece without denting the wood. Very important. So using my tenon saw, line up the angle, draw back to start. Doesn't want to go forward yet, so I'm not going to force it. Draw back. Would help if my bench didn't move, of course. This is probably not a masterclass on how to do this. I need to stop when I get to there. Have I got there yet? Almost. I think that's okay. Then I release it. You may say, why not clamp it to your great big workbench? Because I don't really have a lip the right size anywhere. Oh, do I? Hang on. I don't use the vise very much. You can probably tell. How about there? Is that big enough? Yes, it is. Hurrah! So clamp that there. That's nice and strong. Get my workpiece and my saw and my cardboard. I forgot that. Now this time we're cutting that way, so I wrap the card around there and I clamp it into the jaws of the beast like so. It should be a lot steadier actually. Now I need to cut along this line. Again, thinking as I go. Come on Chris, get your head together. Put it that way. There we go. Put it that way. Got more hand space now. And you can still use a little square to mark the line that needs cutting. I know most people will probably say use a pencil, but my pencil's blunt and I never get around to sharpening it. Okay, so on the line, get the thumb to guide it, pull back first. If it wants to go forward, let it. Oh, this is so much easier. And then that piece comes off. Huzzah! I'm actually quite pleased with that. Never had much success doing that, you see. As you can see, there's no dents on the workpiece, which is what we wanted. And now, if we have a look at how these go together, this piece can now go in there, like that. Is it deep enough? Oh, not quite. There's a little bit more taking off it. Never mind. These things are scent. So I need a little bit more taking off here. So I'm just going to try. Oops. It's because I'm putting a really thin piece that keeps sticking. Yeah, and I'm going to cut that way. Tidy it up, and now hopefully it is correct. Yeah, that's sitting nice and square on the bench. That goes in there. That goes in there. There's no discernible gap there, which is what I was worried about. So I have my notch. Very proud of my notch. Never managed a notch before. So that is now properly all of the pieces prepared. Next job is to sand them, and as I say, I'll show you that next time. Well, thank you for joining me while I cut the wood and routed out the necessary groove for this custom order. Next time we'll get onto the sanding, and we might do a bit of waxing at the same time because sanding goes on a bit. Okay, as usual, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all the usual things that YouTubers say that annoy you so much, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day. See you later.